You did not stop here by accident. Out of everything competing for your attention right now, out of every scroll, every distraction, every moment pulling you in a different direction, something brought you here. Something quiet. Something that does not have a name yet. And that something knew exactly what it was doing. Because you have been carrying something heavy, haven't you? Not the kind of heavy that people around you can see. Not the kind you talk about over dinner or explain in a single sentence. The kind that sits behind your eyes when you are smiling. The kind that wakes you up at 3 a.m. and replays a moment, a door, a silence, a person who was there and then suddenly was not. They slammed the door, and the sound of it, whether it was loud and final or quiet and cold, has been echoing inside you longer than you would like to admit. But here is what I need you to understand before we go any further. That door closing was not the end of your story. The universe does not write endings that way. And Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds ever to study the human soul, understood something about closed doors that most people never discover. You were meant to hear this today, not tomorrow. Today, let me speak to what you have actually been living through, because you deserve to have it named. There were nights you picked up your phone and put it back down. Not once, not twice, many times. Because some part of you was still waiting, still hoping that a message would appear, that something would shift, that the silence would finally break in your favor. And it did not. And you went to sleep carrying that. There were moments in public, in ordinary, unremarkable moments, where something reminded you of them. A song, a place, the way someone laughed. And for a second, just a second, the ache came back so sharply surprised even you, because you thought you were further along. You thought you had moved past it. But grief does not move in straight lines. You replayed the door slamming. Maybe not literally. Maybe it was a message left on read. Maybe it was a conversation that ended without resolution. Maybe it was a slow fade, the worst kind, where they did not even give you the dignity of a real goodbye. And through all of it, you kept going. You kept showing up. You kept choosing to be soft in a situation that could have made you hard. That is not weakness. That is one of the rarest things a human being can do. You are seen. Your pain was real. Your love was not a mistake. And the universe, the same universe that arranged for you to be here right now, has been watching every single moment of it. Carl Jung spent his life studying something most people are too afraid to look at directly, the hidden architecture of the human soul. He believed that nothing in our inner world happens without meaning. Not our dreams, not our fears, not the people who enter our lives and shake everything loose when they leave. Jung spoke about what he called the shadow, the parts of a person they have not yet faced, the anger they have not processed, the insecurity they have never examined, the love they feel but do not know how to hold without destroying. And here is what that means for you. When that person slammed the door, when they left, when they pulled away, when they went silent, they were not reacting to you. Not truly. They were reacting to something inside themselves that your presence brought to the surface. Something they were not ready to face. Something their shadow had been hiding, even from them. Jung called this projection. When we cannot look at the difficult parts of ourselves, we project them outward. We run. We push away the very thing that is asking us to grow. And the people who trigger the deepest projection, the ones who make us feel the most, are the ones we are most connected to at the level of the soul. They did not slam the door because you were not enough. They slammed the door because some part of them knew, deeply, uncomfortably, undeniably, that you were exactly enough, and they were not ready for that yet. Jung also spoke about synchronicity, the idea that meaningful events are connected not by cause and effect, but by something deeper, something arranged. The fact that two people meet at all, that their paths cross, that the connection forms. Jung did not believe it happened by accident, and he did not believe it ended simply because one person panicked and ran. The soul does not abandon what it has genuinely recognized. That door slamming was not a conclusion. In the language of the unconscious, in the language Jung devoted his entire life to decoding, it was a crisis. And crises, always, are the beginning of transformation. Hello and welcome. If you are new here, this channel exists for one reason: to bring you the messages that were arranged for you. Every single video carries something designed to shift how you see yourself and what is coming for you. Please subscribe, hit the bell, and select all notifications so none of it reaches you too late. While you have been here, carrying the weight of their silence, rebuilding yourself quietly, learning how to breathe again in a space they used to fill, something has been happening on their side that you cannot see. And it is not what you think. It is not indifference. It is not peace. It is not the moving forward without a second thought, living easily, unbothered by what they left behind. That is the story the silence tells. But silence is one of the most deceptive things in the human experience, because what lives inside silence is rarely nothing. It is almost always too much. Right now, at this very moment, there are things that stop them, small things, unremarkable to anyone watching from the outside, but enormous on the inside. They pause on your name when they see it. Not for a long time, just a second, but the pause happens. They cannot stop it. There are moments, late at night, or in the middle of something ordinary, where a memory surfaces without permission. Something you said, something you did, the particular way you made them feel seen in a moment they did not expect. And for a breath, something in their chest tightens. They notice the space you used to fill, not always consciously, but the absence has a shape, and the shape is familiar. Jung understood this perfectly. He wrote that what we repress does not disappear. It gathers force underground. The feelings they slammed the door on did not vanish when the door closed. They went inward. They went deeper. And the deeper something is buried in the unconscious, the more powerfully it begins to push back toward the surface. They are not at peace with what they did. And somewhere beneath all the noise they have surrounded themselves with, they know it. Now, let me tell you something important. Something you may not have given yourself credit for yet. At some point, quietly, without announcement, you changed. Maybe you are not even fully aware of when it happened. There was no single dramatic moment, no declaration, no scene, just a quiet internal shift where you decided, somewhere deep inside yourself, that you were done shrinking, done waiting, done making yourself smaller to fit inside someone else's comfort. You stopped sending the first message every single time. You stopped explaining yourself to people who had already decided not to understand. You stopped performing okayness when you were not okay, and you stopped apologizing for the size of your love. And that shift, that quiet, unannounced shift, sent a signal out into the world that words never could have. Jung called this individuation, the process by which a person stops fragmenting themselves to belong and begins instead to move toward genuine wholeness. It is not a comfortable process. It does not feel like power when you are inside it. It feels like loneliness. It feels like uncertainty. It feels like standing in a room with your hands empty, wondering if you made the wrong decision. But the people around you feel it. Even the ones who are no longer around you, especially those ones. Because when you stop chasing, the energy reverses. When you stop pouring yourself outward towards someone who is not receiving it, that energy comes back to you. You become more yourself. And there is nothing more magnetic in this universe than a person who has returned to themselves. They felt it. They may not have the language for what they felt, but they felt it. The person they slammed the door on is not the same person standing here now. And the unconscious mind recognizes that evolution, even when the conscious mind refuses to admit it. You did not lose the energy war. You won it. You just could not see it yet. Jung introduced the world to a concept he called synchronicity, the experience of two or more events that are meaningfully connected, not by logic, not by cause and effect, but by something that operates at a level deeper than ordinary understanding. He did not offer this as poetry. He offered it as observation, as something you witnessed again and again in the lives of real people navigating real transformation. And what the universe has been showing you lately is not coincidence. Think about it. The dreams where they appeared and you woke up unsettled. Not sad exactly, but aware, as if some part of your sleeping mind was processing something your waking mind is still catching up to. Those dreams are not random. Jung believed that dreams are the unconscious communicating what the conscious mind is not yet ready to hold directly. Think about the moments their names seem to appear without reason. A song, a reference someone made without knowing, a number pattern that stop you mid-step. These are not accidents of perception. They are the universe flagging a frequency, marking something that is still in motion. Think about the quiet feeling, the one you cannot fully explain to anyone, that this is not finished. That feeling is not desperation. It is not delusion. It is something older and more reliable than either of those things. It is the soul's recognition that the story has not arrived at its true chapter yet. The universe does not invest in connections of this depth and then discard them carelessly. What was built between you and this person, even with all its pain, even with the door and the silence and everything that followed, was not ordinary. Ordinary connections do not leave this kind of mark. Ordinary connections do not produce this quality of longing, this level of growth, this much transformation in a single human heart. What you shared moved at the level of the soul. And at the level of the soul, Jung was very clear. Nothing is ever truly unresolved. The unconscious always moves toward completion. Always. The return is not a wish. It is an arrangement already in motion. The universe does not leave its unfinished business unfinished. If something in these words is landing, if some part of you is reading this and feeling like it was written specifically for you, that is not a coincidence. That is exactly what this channel is here for. Subscribe and hit the bell so that every message arranged for you finds you exactly when you need it. Let me paint something for you, not as fantasy, not as false comfort, but as the honest picture of what this kind of return, the kind the universe arranges, the kind Jung described as the soul moving toward completion, actually looks like when it arrives. It will not be dramatic, not at first. It will not be a grand gesture with music behind it. It will not be a perfectly worded speech delivered at the right moment in the right light. Those are the returns that movies invented. What is coming to you is quieter than that, and quieter things always carry more weight. It will begin with something small, a message that arrives when you have finally stopped expecting one, a reach out that feels tentative, because they are not sure how you will receive them, and that uncertainty alone tells you everything about how much the dynamic has shifted. They will not come back with the same energy they left with. They cannot, because they are not the same person who slammed the door. Neither are you. They will come back humbled. Not broken. Humbled. There's an important difference. Broken people return to take. Humbled people return to offer. And what this person will bring back with them is something they did not have the capacity to give before. The willingness to see you fully, to stay, to choose you not out of comfort or habit, but out of genuine recognition. You will feel it in the quality of their presence, the way they listen differently, the way they do not flinch from the depth of you the way they once did. The unconscious work they have done in your absence, whether they are aware they were doing it or not, will show in every small interaction. This is not the same story starting over. This is a new chapter, a better one that could only begin after everything that came before it. And while that chapter is preparing itself, while the universe is doing what the universe does in the space between what was and what is coming, there are things you must do, not for them, for yourself. Stop rehearsing the pain. You have turned that moment over enough times. You have examined it from every angle, assigned blame, retracted the blame, questioned yourself, defended yourself, and arrived back at the same ache again and again. That cycle has served its purpose. What it taught you, you have learned. You are allowed to set it down now. Protect your energy like it is the most valuable thing you own, because it is. Not every person who steps into your orbit in this waiting period deserves access to the depth of you. You do not owe anyone the full weight of your heart while you are still rebuilding. Be present, be warm, but be discerning. Jung spoke about the importance of tending to your own inner world, what he called the work of individuation, not as preparation for someone else's arrival, but as a sacred responsibility of becoming fully yourself. Your wholeness is not a gift you are preparing for them. It is something you are building for you. The relationship that is coming will simply be fortunate enough to meet you there. Keep choosing peace over the urge to reach out too soon. Keep choosing your own dignity over the temporary relief of breaking the silence on their terms. The timing belongs to the universe now. Trust that, not blindly, trustingly. There is a difference. What is genuinely meant for you does not require you to abandon yourself to claim it. Here is the truth that this entire message has been building toward. The door they slammed it on themselves. They slammed it on mornings that would have been warm, on a love that asked nothing from them except presence, on a connection that the universe arranged with extraordinary care and extraordinary intention. They walked away from all of that, not because it was not valuable, but because they could not yet hold something that valuable without fear. You did not lose when that door closed. You were protected. You were redirected. You were placed exactly where your growth required you to be. And now, on the other side of everything you have walked through, you are standing in a different kind of strength, quieter, deeper, unshakable in a way that only comes from having survived what you survived. What is meant for you is still meant for you. That has never changed, and it never will. If this message found you today, do not let this channel find you only once. Subscribe, hit the bell, and select all notifications, because the next message waiting for you on this channel may be the one that shifts everything. Stay close. You were brought here for a reason. Trust that.